We're here in Lisbon at the 2020 Vision Executive Summit. Pulled Alexander from Sandvine away from the crowd just for a couple of minutes to talk about what's going on in the network and the Global Internet Phenomenon Report. Hi, Alexander. How are you?
Hey, Phil. How are you?
I'm doing okay. So I wanted to get into a bit about what you've noticed that's different in terms of Sandvine, looking at all of the traffic and all of the nodes that it monitors and sees out there in its network with all of its customers. Anything surprising in this year's report that popped up?
Well, Phil, we do these reports every year, so there will be, at a macro scale, relatively little change. We're looking at about 2 billion people and their internet traffic and their trends. So this year, the things that I reacted to as gotchas or aha moments would be that peer-to-peer and pirated video has made a comeback. It was never quite dead, but we can clearly see in our trend data that, especially in North America, it's been coming back, but also in Europe. And we believe that is because the content is so fragmented over the top players. Myself, I have to have 5 different video subscriptions just on OTT to cover all the TV series and movies I want to see. And I don't think that's particularly unique. And when access to the content is not simple,
right,
people are more inclined to go find it from somewhere else. And then when it comes to live video, like sports events and things like that, they're rarely available over the top at all. So where do you go? Well, you go back to piracy, and that's why we see this IPTV fraud, especially in North America.
In the sports category too, even when they make deals with different mobile portals or aggregators, every single network, every single pay TV provider makes a different deal, and as a consumer you look at it and it's really hard to tell. And sometimes it is actually easier just to tell someone, hey, just send me the game, send me the match.
Yeah. And it's not hard to Google for.
Right, exactly, and that does pose a challenge for those content owners. Real quick, just to sort of back up a bit. What is Sandvine's position in terms of how are you getting to all of this data to be able to monitor what's going on the internet and take the heartbeat, so to speak?
Sure. Well, so we've been around for 18 years, and we've always been a service provider play. So we're deployed in about 150 Tier 1 and Tier 2 operators over the world, and our boxes or solutions are placed in the network where we see pretty much all the internet traffic going from the subscribers to the outside of the operator. So on some operator edge or operator core.
Right.
And that enables us to see pretty much 100% of the traffic for 2 billion people, which is a pretty nice representation of what's going on. And then these boxes are there to do different things. It could be traffic analytics, trending data, but it could also be traffic management. And we started out with managing applications for the telco. And in order to do that, you have to identify the application.
The applications.
And in order to do that well, we needed to bring some data home to our developers about how well we're identifying applications. And that's how we started collecting this anonymized data. So we don't see who's doing what, we just see what's trending.
Right, and speaking of trending, one of the things I guess that in the Internet Phenomenon report that jumped out to me was just the dominance of Google in the space because of not only the reach as a search engine, but the sheer number of applications that they're running. Any insight onto about sort of what the service providers have to contend with in terms of Google traffic?
Well, Google traffic, the search traffic is just one little part of what they do. Then I don't know if there's 150 different Google services, and they're all pretty active in terms of network traffic. I think YouTube and maybe Gmail are the two that are generating volume, but but the other Google services are generating connections.
Okay.
So if you have any piece of equipment in the telco network that's state aware and has a flow table, 15 to 20, maybe 25% in some cases of those resources would be going to Google services just because it's so connection rich. And there will be like, well, the search engine, Google Home, anything like that.
Now, as we're looking at service providers being aware of what's on their network, what kind of applications, what kind of data is moving, what's using the most data, a lot of the talk at this conference from service providers has been, there's been a fair amount of talk about applying artificial intelligence to their network to help, not just to help automate operations, but also to help sort of decide where traffic should be going, what's the most optimal route and that sort of thing.
Yes.
How does Sandvine help in that regard, and what can you maybe tell service providers who are looking at their network? Maybe there's something in terms of something they need to take care of before they really go down this path.
I think that regardless if it's a manual action that a human takes based on something that he sees, or if it's an AI engine that's taking some kind of automatic action for security reasons, for quality of service reasons, for service bring up, whatever it is, that is an automatic change, it needs to be based on good data. So we've been producing good data for a very long time about subscribers, their applications, the quality of their experience, latencies, losses, where the packet's going, lots of different things. So we've been creating this good data for a long time, and we also take automatic actions, but we're also open for sort of contributing this open data to any kind of AI system at an operator. And luckily in 5G, the designers, one of the good things they did in 3GPP was to define a node called the NWDA in the 5G spec that actually does that. It's the data repository and the automation engine for taking this kind of action. So we like that.
Okay, so you would plug in there and help the operators automate their networks or apply AI wherever they need it based on the
now
data.
in a standards way, whereas before we've always done it in kind of our own way.
What's the flip side of that? If operators aren't getting good data from or accurate data from their traffic flows, what could be happening as we automate processes and things like that?
Well, naturally, if the data is not clean, if it's inaccurate, or they don't understand what the different KPIs in the data mean, which is very often the case, you'll be making the wrong automatic decisions. And I think the only thing that's worse than wrong manual decisions is wrong automatic decisions.
Right, because they happen so much faster.
Yeah, and you don't know why or what happened. There'll be a series of events, and all of a sudden it's completely out of control.
Lastly, just want to talk about video on the network. It always seems to be a dominant piece of the network traffic. Is that changing in any way, and sort of what are your observations about what video is doing to the service provider network?
I don't think it's really changing. I think for the last 5 or 6 years it's been in the same range of 70 to 80% of the peak hour traffic, which is the one that counts the most for me. But to get to that number, you have to take the peer-to-peer transfers that are video. You have to take the IPTV legal, you have to take the IPTV illegal or fraud, plus the OTT video. But at the end of the day, all of those things lead to eyeballs watching some kind of video on a screen.
Right, absolutely. Okay, well, I've taken you away long enough. We need to get back into the conference. Alexander, thanks so much for talking with us.
Thanks, Phil.